the number one question we always ask ourselves when we're taking a project forward is it bankable? Is it an attractive proposal to an investor? And what do we have to do if it's not, in order to make it so? So, I mean, it's not, again, if it was anyone involved in the hydrogen community knows that off-taker is absolutely number one when it comes to answering that question. If we don't have a route to market for the hydrogen, we can't get paid. If we can't get paid, the project's not going to go very far. So when it comes to off-taker risk, we're looking at off-takers to sign up long-term contracts, and perhaps one of the biggest barriers to that currently is the price gap between what we can produce green hydrogen at and what the off-taker is prepared to pay given current market conditions. Now, this is where policy can come in to really help bridge that gap. So if we look at the UK, we have a contract for difference scheme, which in theory takes the price of hydrogen down from the production cost to price of natural gas, which is certainly is quite a big jump, and it makes it a very attractive proposal for an off-taker to say, well, actually, if I'm burning natural gas today, using hydrogen isn't going to cost me any further. What we have seen in Europe is that countries, certainly at the start of this decade, were very keen to get the hydrogen economy moving. What we've seen in the past couple of years, again, due to cost pressures, is a little bit of stalling from pretty much all countries in delivering on targets that were really announced. I think one of the strengths about Lhyfe is that we are spread across 11 countries, as I mentioned. So it does mean that if one country does slow down a bit, it's inevitable that another country will speed up. So we are able to drive our portfolio of projects forward, even if governments do back down or governments change, and it does stall things for a little while. So that is something that is key for us, is to have that activity in so many countries. One of the other things about off-taker risk is the fact that that they've got to convert from their process, which may be consuming natural gas today, to converting to, say, burning hydrogen. They are not dissimilar, but they are not the same. So that does require investment in CapEx for that off-taker. And I think that what I want to stress is this concept of project-on-project risk. So that off-taker taking their FID to be able to convert their plant to accept hydrogen, which again, if we're making a bankable project, is something that investors and lenders really want to look at to make sure that that is locked in on the off-taker side. Even more important when it comes to fuels of the future, the e-fuels, e-methanol and SAF. A lot of these PTL SAF plants, we've got plenty in development across Europe. Fewer actually taken an FID to be built. There are lots of technology risks from a PTL SAF point of view. The TRL level isn't quite as high as it is for, let's say, green hydrogen production, creating project risk. So that is something today it's not that easy to solve. That is something that we are working on and keeping a very close eye on about how we can overcome some of those barriers for future. So off-taker risk, absolutely number one. Second one I would say to that is technology risk. So even though electrolysis has been around for about 100 years, we've got some well-established companies who've been producing electrolyzers. It is still an evolving market, particularly when it comes to scale up. So what we are seeing, and what I think what everyone in the hydrogen community is seeing, that electrolyzer manufacturers are falling into trouble. We saw players like ITM and Plug Power fall into a bit of difficulty a couple of years ago. What's great to see is that they've managed to turn it around and get themselves out. But there are companies that have fallen over, such as Green Hydrogen Systems. So for us, we do not. We try to stay technology agnostic. That's looking at PEM and alkaline. We also stay open when it comes to working with the OEM. So we're not pegging all our colours onto one particular OEM, but really we are staying very open and active in the market to make sure that our technology provider is able to provide us the technology that we need and also able to give us that ongoing support once we are operational. I'd say that the final thing we need to look at is infrastructure. We're at the stage now where there aren't many dedicated hydrogen pipes in the ground. But going back to our off-taker risk, what happens if your off-taker falls over, becomes, goes bankrupt, or their production is no longer sustainable in that location? How do you get your hydrogen to market? And that has to be through pipes and geological storage. So producing in a location which is on the roadmap for dedicated hydrogen pipes and storage is absolutely key.